Hey guys, in today's tutorial we'll be looking into Viewrose in Grasshopper and Rhino. The goal of this is to show you from a singular point how far you can see into an urban context. This can be used, for example, as we're about to do it on a street or in a floor plan through windows, and just generates how you can see views. So what you'll need is obviously a context. We're going to be using this car and seeing the views into this built form area, how far we can see into it. So in order to do this, we need to open Grasshopper. This is kind of the code we'll be having in the end, but let's just start fresh. So you'll need Ladybug. So to get Ladybug, just go to Food for Rhino, Ladybug, and install it and follow the instructions. And once you've done that, we can start the code. So you go into Ladybug, and under Analyze Geometry, you have all these options, and we want LB Viewrose. So the 3 points here that really matter are context, center point, radius. Context being all the buildings around, center point being our car, and radius being how far around the geometry we want the view to actually go, whether we can only see 5 meters away or whether it's 50 meters away. So first thing we want to do in Rhino is create a point, this center point. We type in point. Now what we want to do is, it's probably easier in plan, just take the center point of the car here, select that point. Just to ensure, obviously because we have the road a bit lower than the gutter and the buildings, that we move it up to the eye level of the person in the car. So now what we want to do is set that point in Grasshopper. So we have to type in point, select this one, and with that point selected in Rhino, we right click on the point here, we set one point. Now you can see if I hide that point, we've got this X, which is now representing the point in Grasshopper. Next, we want to set B-reps, which will be our context. In fact, we'll just rename it context so that it's easier to understand. And we want to select all these buildings as our context. So we go set, and instead of one B-rep, we set multiple. We're then clicking on all these buildings. And this just allows the script to collide with those buildings rather than pass through them. And this way we can get an accurate reading, otherwise it would be pretty useless. And then radius, we just want another slider. So let's set it to 40 meters. Sweet. So now we connect our center point to this. Context to the context, and by default you can see it's now set up this legend and this radial graph. What that's doing, let's move it into perspective. So what the colors represent is pink being the closest points before it collides with the geometry, and blue being the longest. So you can see here it hits this house pretty early on, and that's probably about 11 meters away. And we can adjust this by chucking in our radius. So now it's only 40 meters. So we can see, alright, if we want to see just when it hits that house, we can take it all the way down to this. And as you can see, it's a bit hard to see, but it's roughly 12 meters away to that corner. And this is helpful just to know what's visible from a certain point. So then we can expand this all the way to, if you double click, you can set it to about 70 meters. Right, so that's basically it, but we'll just play around with it a bit more. So if we go into this top view and we select the point, Because this point is referencing Grasshopper, we can now move it, which gives us an understanding of, as the car is driving along the road, what views can be seen. You see, yeah. So now what we will do is we'll actually do a series of points along the line. So let's just delete that point, delete the reference point in Grasshopper, and let's instead make a line through the middle of the street. Again, just make sure it's at eye level of the person in the car. Now we want to reference a curve, and what we'll be doing is creating points along this curve in intervals to represent that movement of the car. So we go to curve, division, grab divide curve, and we're looking for a number, and C for curve. So we're referencing curve, which we haven't set yet. Now we have. You can see by default it sets a series of points along the curve. I think that's probably too many. Let's just go for about 4. Let's do 5. So now this has created a series of 5 points with an output of this. So now what we can do is we can go here. Let's actually just set the radius to 0 for now. As you can see, it's come up red. We can check this for the error. And basically the error is that we have no radius. So if we start pulling this up, you can see that we have a series of 5 graphs now. They're all overlapping. Now this is quite hard to read, especially with the multiple legends kind of overlaying. It's difficult to understand what's going on. So what we can do is we can bake these results. If we go to mesh, right click and click bake, we'll set them to the results layer. Righto. Now we can completely close Grasshopper. And still it's quite difficult to read, but what you would do is you could take these individual meshes and basically as a graphic make them all the same color and represent what areas are least seen and most seen with darker colors as they overlay. But yeah, that's the general premise of viewports.